Hey there. Happy new moon in Sagittarius. Happy Saturday. It is December 20th. I'm Trish Campbell. Just waiting for my good friend Nadine to join me. We're going to have another one of our chit chats. We're talking about managing the stress of the season, specifically talking around about how that impacts our sleep. And I'll get into a little bit of the astrological energies as well while we're waiting for Nadine to join us. Like I said, it's the new moon of Sagittarius that just peaked at, I believe it was 8:41 Eastern time last night, so December 19th. And December 20th, if you're in the UK or in Europe on that side of the world, it peaked at 1:41 a.m. GMT, and we are also just heading into winter solstice for us here in the northern hemisphere, and summer solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. But it's a time of the return to light. This solstice, it'll be the shortest day of the year, but then from then on, the days will get longer. It's a time of transformation, and this new moon is really about that too, as it sits next to the galactic center, the heart of the Milky Way, and right next to it. So it's kind of bringing in this energy of bringing us into higher consciousness if we're on that path and we're open and aware of that and open to that. You may be feeling a shift. I feel like I've felt some sort of shift. It's really about like not just a higher consciousness, but cosmic consciousness, more on a spiritual level, I would say, and bringing us opportunity to shift in that perspective. So I feel like this year for me personally has been one of those, like kind of clearing out some old patterns and cycles and making space for this shift. New awakenings, I will say, like spiritual awakening this year for myself too, on a different level that I wasn't expecting, and just opening to that and just trying to navigate that. So I don't know if that resonates with any of you, but I feel like also this new moon, wherever it's hitting in your personal chart, whatever house it's hitting is going to impact what area of life. It'll show what area of life that's going to impact for you. So for me, also Nadine, we're the same rising sign, which is Virgo. It's hitting our fourth house, which is the house of family and roots. Also the house of self-care. It's ruled by Cancer, which is the ultimate nurturer, femininity, mothering kind of energy. And it's an invitation for us to, it's not just about nurturing others, but nurturing ourselves. And I think that's so connected to what we're talking about today. And just waiting for her to join. But we're talking about prioritizing self-care with specifically around sleep. We talk about prioritizing our self-care all the time. And I think it's so important. There's nothing wrong. In fact, I think it's necessary in these times when everything is so fast-paced to make time for ourselves and prioritize our well-being, because we want to show up fully, the best that we can, the fullest that we can, our best self as much as we can. So having some structure around that or putting some intention around that area of our life, I think is important. And that's why we're talking about it. So let me just see if I don't think she has joined yet. So I'll continue to maybe talk about this new moon. And again, it's like I said, it's bringing us, it's kind of a doorway into a new level of consciousness, and in a spiritual sense. And I think a lot like of people that I follow, and Nadine and I are both kind of on that same path of, spiritual growth, transformation, and it looks different for all of us. Here she is. I think it says she's joined, but oh, there you are.
Hello.
Hi. Can you see me this time? Can you hear
I
me?
can. I can see you. I can hear you. That's brilliant.
It took a while. I don't know if you were having difficulties to join, but
I don't think I was, but sometimes it takes a while, doesn't it? So
yeah, and I put my phone on do not disturb, so I'm not getting a bunch of notifications. So I don't know if it's that, but I see other people joining, so I'm getting. Yeah, so I don't think it's that. But anyways, I was trying to talk a little bit about the astrology while I was waiting for you, as I always do. And then I was just going a little bit deeper when you came, but just to reiterate, so you know, like we just passed the new moon this morning for you, last night for us. And this one's all about it's in Sagittarius. It's in the 28 degrees Sagittarius. It's right next to also the galactic center, which is the center of the universe. And so it's bringing in an opportunity for us to raise our cosmic consciousness. So that's more of like on a spiritual, not just like our consciousness is one thing, ego consciousness and all of that, but this is more of dropping the ego and letting ourselves like allowing ourselves to be open to transformation and shifts in our lives and shifts in our spiritual path, even if you're on that path. So another chance for an awakening and transformation and transcending like our ego, like I said. So also like the house that it hits for each individual according to their personal natal chart, it will show the area of life it's going to impact. And for us, I said we're both rising signs, so it's hitting our fourth house of family and roots, and it's also the house of self-care, of care in general, nurturing. It's ruled by Cancer, which is the nurturer sign, kind of mother energy. But I think this is an invitation for us, and it's perfectly aligned as always, like what we talk about. I think why we were sensing this, we needed to talk about this, like prioritizing our self-care. But I think a lot, like sleep is one of the biggest areas that we can, well, that will benefit us to prioritize. But I think like, so we're going to talk about that, but there's things that we can do to prior or to help our sleep. So it's all kind of connected in that self-care. And
yeah,
you do a lot of work with people and you have like with meditations and all of that. And I think this was sparked by, you have a sleep meditation and, I
yeah,
have that in my toolbox that I use and am
you
reminded
do.
recently that if I need it when we have trouble with sleep.
Yeah,
I don't know. And it's also connected to like we're in that holiday season and it's like everyone's feeling pressure and stress and also coming off of a hard year for a lot of us. So it's just like I think such a perfect topic to talk about.
yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
Perfect timing, as always. Like you say, this is what we're talking about in our conversations we have, just me and you anyway.
Right.
Can I just say before I get into it, because obviously I can see myself,
Yeah.
just telling people about my eye because it's quite obvious, isn't it? I poked myself in my eye. That's why it looks like it looks like, and I have no
Oh,
makeup on because I can't obviously do eye makeup at the moment. So that's why I look like I look like. So I hope that it's not offending anyone or freaking anyone out. This is my. It doesn't hurt. It just is reacting to what I did. I poked my little finger in it by
yeah.
mistake.
And that happens, and I'm sure, like, I feel like if I would have, like, you know, your eye is bleeding, and it's like not an area we are typically
No,
prone to bleed from. So
yeah.
it's
When
like, but
I
it
yeah.
happens, and something so
Yeah.
simple can like
It was, yeah,
cause
it
so
wasn't
much
even,
damage.
it was a very simple little thing that I did, but that's how my eye reacted. And I did think, oh my goodness, my eye is bleeding, but it doesn't, just so people know the blood doesn't come out, but the
Yeah.
blood is there because I've damaged it, I bruised it almost. So, so it is superficial, but it doesn't look the best. And I did think I either have a patch or wear sunglasses, but we decided not to do that, didn't we? So I hope everyone's okay with what it looks like.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's
but it's
life, it's
real.
reality, it's real, and that's how
Yeah.
we do on
We,
this on our
that's
chit
what we do.
chats. Yeah.
We show up.
Yeah.
We show up as it is, doesn't it? So I just wanted to
Yeah.
say that first, so people don't sit there going like, "Oh, what's happened?" So, or maybe think I don't know.
Yeah. No, thank you
But
for sharing that though. Yeah.
yeah, these things happen, don't they? But it is something. And again, I feel this is another little thing for me to go. I really at the moment. I really want to close the year and just go looking after me. And I take this as a little symbol. I know I wasn't not looking after me. I was moisturising my face when I did it.
Hmm.
But I just feel it's a little bit like, okay, this is a visual. maybe a little bit of a like, okay, take your time, slow down, that kind of thing. And that's how I'm reacting to it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and just feeling that I'm taking priority. When I did it, I had to spend most of the day getting it into. I had an appointment. Well, I tried to get an appointment with the doctor. Then I went to see an optician. Then I went to my emergency at the hospital just to get it checked out. So I changed my plan for the day because of what happened. And that's like to give yourself permission to do that and to be able to do that. I
Mm-hmm.
feel quite grateful that I could do that. I made myself priority to make sure that everything was okay and looking after myself in the best way that I could. And that's what I got. So that's how my day went because I did this 7 o'clock in the morning, So
Right.
it's when it was still dark.
Oh my gosh. But yeah.
But like I say, these things happen. But it is a time, isn't it, for, like you say, the busyness of the holiday season, as you call it. We call it our Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
People are rushing around. People are having accidents. They're making mistakes. They're doing things that they don't normally do, because they're not giving themselves time and space. They're
Mm-hmm.
rushing around. They're putting other people's priority before their own, and it's something I feel very strongly about, at this time of year, especially when you are getting busy, that to actually go, remember to look after yourself. Put that
Yes.
time in, even if you need to schedule it in your diary. What I do, I write it in
Mm-hmm.
my diary, the time for meditation, relaxation, whatever, having Reiki sessions with you, things like that, that are special. They're just for me. And that's important. And I think at this time of year, and I've got to say, I don't want to sound sexist because I know it's not just women, but women especially, they're running around doing
Mm-hmm.
everything. And they don't need to. There is a bit about what does. I put a post out a little while ago. I got to the end of the day and I hadn't done what I planned to do. And I go, but that's fine. I haven't done it. It's okay, because you
Yeah.
don't always get everything done. But life still goes on. Nothing is that terrible, is it? And to just remind ourselves that, we can take a moment. My cliche, one of my cliches, as you know, is snatch a moment of calm. To,
Yes.
rem- to remember every now and again that we can just go, I can have, maybe grab a cuppa, sit and do something, listen to one of our chit chats, give yourself a little break because the world still turns. We still get things done, but to have
Yeah.
a little break doesn't have to be a long break. It can be a quick one, but they're so valuable and they're just times for you to catch up with yourself, aren't they? That
Yes.
even just a breath, I say all the time, the exhalation, we
Mm-hmm.
can do it now if we want to. We can just breathe out, let our shoulders drop down, just let it all sink down. Just that is enough, isn't it?
You
Just
feel a shift in your nervous system, like you're just
straight
in your
away.
being, yeah, right away, and like
Yeah,
relaxation. And I think
yeah.
that's like so powerful just to take that moment, like in the middle of like all the busyness. And
The business,
you know,
yeah.
we were, and I think too, like to tie or tag on to that sentiment. Time is like, I don't know about you, but like time feels so sped up and like everything is moving at such a fast pace right now. And then add in the holiday season and the pressure and like you said, running around doing all this stuff. But just because time is speeding or it feels like everything is speeding up and rushed and everything, I think the best thing we can do for ourselves is to slow down. And the place where we're going to make the
Yeah,
most progress
yeah.
at the end of the day is to slow down and
Yes.
really give ourselves that space. And that is like just that energy thinking about, I'm reminded about why we came into this topic or how we got onto it was like I was feeling stressed out about something at work and I was like, I don't really find like myself to be a person who has a lot of trouble sleeping. Like I'm usually pretty good, but for some reason my mind was racing this night and
Yeah, yeah.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I started thinking about things that I didn't want to forget that I needed to do the next day at work. And I'm like,
Yes.
why am I waking up at 3 a.m. like worried about
Mm,
this? Like,
yeah.
but what I did was I'm like, I'm just going to send myself an email right now because I have my phone nearby. So I guess that was a good thing in that instance, but not the greatest, like otherwise, because that can also like then further disrupt us. But
Mm,
what it did was like, and I didn't realize that at the time, but I'm like, I sent myself an email and then I went right back to sleep. And I was
yes.
telling you about it, and you said
Yeah.
it's because the thing that keeps us awake at night is like all these lists of things that we have going circulating in our brain. we think we're going to forget them, so we can't let it go. But once we write it down, we can let it go, and then we can relax. So,
Yes. And that's exactly what it is, isn't it? One of the things that can keep
mhm.
us awake at night or wake us up and prevent us from going back to sleep is that we go, oh, there's something to do. I mustn't forget it. So we
Yeah,
do then go, oh, if I go back to sleep, I'll forget. And then we think about it. And we sometimes, I don't know about you, Trish, but I can even dream. I can go back to sleep and dream that I'm doing the thing that I need to do.
yes,
So it's
yes.
still on the mind. But the wonderful thing about get it out, and you did
Mm,
that. Now I'm old-fashioned. I will write it on a bit of paper, but you did it on your phone. And people do, much as we can say, don't have your phones by you in the bedroom. We do, don't we? So I'm not going to give anyone a hard time about that. If it helps you to write it on your phone, whatever way you do it, get it out.
yeah,
Because the thing is, and I know when I do it, it might be something I've got to, especially this time of year, something I want to buy. I thought about a present idea or something, a gift. And I go, oh, I mustn't forget that. And then if you just write it down, you've freed up your mind. You don't have to put that pressure on yourself to remember. And most people, you're absolutely right, don't realise that that's the pressure they've got. They're just trying to remember. And we can easily bypass that by making a note of it. Job
yeah.
done. And then, like you say, you go back to sleep and you go, that's fine. And as you know, I help people around sleep issues a lot. And one of the things is it's okay if you do wake up. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have your straight 8 hours because you can go back to sleep. And it's not giving yourself a hard time and not going like, oh, panicking because you haven't had your solid 8 hours that people seem to think is so, so important. Of course, sleep is important, and that's what we're saying. And I think you said in the little write-up for this chit-chat, about we don't have that. It's the overall well-being that gets sort of reset, if you like, doesn't it, with restorative sleep. So we do need,
Yes.
but we can get it in lots of different ways. We can have a little nap in the afternoon if we haven't had a good night's sleep. We can do these things, but people don't let themselves, to get up and write something down, which is what I do. I physically get up and go to another room to do it. Some people go, oh, I can't do that. I'd never go back to sleep. But I do. And I go
Right.
back to sleep better because I've got up, I've had a drink of water, I pop to the loo, and then I go back to sleep and I start again and I have that wonderful sleep. But some people are scared to do that. So there's lots of ways we can just tweak our sort of like almost like rules that we've given ourselves and change things a little bit and
Yeah.
still have the good, like you say, restorative sleep, because the way that we get that can be different for all of us. So that's important, isn't it?
And there's so many things like going through my mind right now about like ways we can help ourselves in that respect. And I just want to say too that everyone's different, and so what works for us might
Yeah,
not work for you. So take what resonates and leave what
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
But like it's there's so many things during our day that we can do and in preparation for like to give ourselves that like good night's sleep. And a couple of things come to mind, like just like you were saying, how I wrote that down or get it out, like you said,
mm,
write it
mm,
out on a list. Like journaling is one way of
yeah,
like getting
yeah,
thoughts out. It's all connected to healing the body, and healing the body is letting our thought, because our thoughts actually control, like affect us, our nervous system,
yeah,
and all of that. And so if those thoughts are swirling around in us, whether it's trying to remember something or somebody that hurt us, and it's like just kind of like we're ruminating on that, and it's
yes,
like, so it's like get it out. And so writing it out, whether that's on your phone or actually
mm,
physically, like I journal every morning or try to, just to like
mm,
start the release what I need to release and make that
yes,
space. And it's like, so it's
yeah,
like that's a proactive way that we can do it. Also, like your meditations are a beautiful way, because it's setting the intention to like that something is going to, like, you setting the intention for the best possible outcome. So whatever that
yes,
is, to like you have your restful, like a blissful night's sleep meditation, and then you have start your day in a positive way.
mm.
You have one for the middle of the day, so quiet the busy. What was it
Yeah,
again? Quiet.
switch off your busy
Switch
heads.
off
That
your
I
busy
call
head,
that one, and that's
and
perfect for this time of year when we're so busy and we're trying to get everything done. That's lovely. But you're absolutely right that it's that thinking about how we set our intentions, isn't it? We are going to have a good night's sleep. We are going to have a wonderful day. We can switch off our busy head for a moment. Because we don't think we can. And you're
mm-hmm,
absolutely right. It's what we tell ourselves, and that kind of like you say, that ruminating, is it going, things are going round and round in your head. We do that so often. And it's a problem solving technique, so it's a good one, but we don't need to be doing that for hours and hours of a
all
night
the time.
time.
Yeah.
We can
And
choose
yeah.
something different. We can choose. I just noticed that Rebecca's joined us. So hello,
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Hi,
Lovely to meet
Rebecca.
you. Hello, hello. So I get so distracted when I see people come
No,
up.
it's good. And I think on that point about all the thoughts that are swirling around and getting it, it's a reminder too that all of those thoughts, anything, any kind of conversation we're having with our body kind of like impacts how we're feeling. So, and I've seen so many things lately about how like talking to your body, telling your body like how like gentle ways to kind of
Mm.
like um change, you know, the cellular
Mhm.
structure and
Yeah,
all of that. I don't have the science behind it to speak to it in the most
yeah,
eloquent way, but it
yeah.
reminds me of like even just having that intention, like you said. And I had a friend once who like I can't remember how we were like what we were talking about, but she gave me a suggestion to at nighttime instead of like um thinking that, oh, I'm not going to get up in time or I'm not going to like have a good night's sleep. Instead,
Mm.
like setting that intention before you go to bed, say, I'm going to wake up restful. I'm going to have a restorative
Yeah,
sleep. I'm going to, so whatever it is you're speaking to your body, like, or speaking it out, writing it out, whatever, however you're communicating that, the
mm.
thought that's inside of your head, it can be beneficial in that way. You can kind of set that intention and it actually works. Like I was like, actually,
It
or I'm going
does.
to wake
Yeah,
up feeling refreshed. I'm not going to like hit the snooze button 9 times.
yeah, yeah. There
And
you
it's
go.
a reminder as we're going into this, like you and I always talk about, this isn't the real new year, but we are feeling a sense of like closure at the end of this year. Like we've been talking about that. Like I feel like we're already in and with this new moon and now the solstice upon us and being in that like the proximity to the galactic center and all the cosmic consciousness aspect of it, that we're already in that energy of the 1 year, leaving this 9 year 2025, entering the 1 year which is a new beginning of 2026.
Yeah,
And I feel like we're already in that. And this is a way that we can kind of like remind ourselves like to take these practices like again, new moons are also an opportunity for a new beginning. So what hasn't been working for us, let that go and establish a new routine. And maybe it's
yes,
incorporating a guided meditation, which you have some
yeah,
beautiful ones, like we said. So, and
yeah,
I use those as part of my toolbox. And it's good to have different things for different moments,
yeah.
different, you know, times of your life or different seasons. So,
And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, we can have these tools in our toolbox. We don't always
yes.
think to use them. We don't always think we've got time to use them. But just remember every now, oh yes, I can do that. This is something I can do. And something that you said earlier about the creating, setting intention. You know, this is the new moon energy that we're in. This is the time for creating and setting intentions. So it's perfect to sit beautifully with the end of the year, the winter solstice. That's the time that we're in, isn't it? For actually letting go of the old, welcoming in the new, and exactly, you know, the old year's finishing and how it is, and setting the intentions, creating the way we want to show up in the rest of, you know, next year. What did you say? It's a 9 year this year, and we're going into a one year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2025 was a 9 year and we're going
mm,
into a one. So it's like a new cycle, a new opportunity. I feel like, yeah,
yeah.
we've already like moved into that energy, even though
We
like we're
have,
not there
yeah,
yet. Yeah.
yeah. We so have. I just reading what Rebecca said here, and she's so right. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
read it out if that's okay, and then add
Yeah.
to it if that's all right. What Rebecca said here, and as I say, you're so spot on there. It is said, when you awaken in the beginning hours of the new day, is when messages from your higher power want to come through. And I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Rebecca. And to me, I feel that we have, I call it kind of the magic, the early hours, at 3 o'clock in the morning kind of thing, when we wake up and everyone says, oh, I woke up and I can't go back to sleep and my head is busy and everything. That is our time for problem solving, for actually having the best ideas. It seems a bit of a joke with our sort of the way that we live our day-to-day 9 to 5 lives, but actually that is the time when we're
Mm-hmm.
most creative and we will problem solve and we will get things done. So if you wake up and your head is busy, again, just going, oh, that's normal, that's okay, you know, and maybe write something down. You don't have to solve the problem, but your mind is actually going to do that anyway. And creative people, that's sometimes the time they do their best work. You know, you can do that in your schedule. So it's absolutely right. Those early hours when we do awaken, they are the times when when people go, I don't know why my head is buzzing at that time. That is
Mm-hmm.
exactly, that's what's happening. Things will come through. So that's when you can maybe do a little meditation practice to let those wonderful things come in, just to relax your mind, body and soul. Like you say, if you tell yourself you're relaxed, you will be. If you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm not going to get enough sleep, I'm going to be useless tomorrow. If that's what's going round and round in your head, you're right. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you are right. If you say, oh, it's okay, I'm awake, but it's fine. I will go back to sleep. I will have enough sleep. Tomorrow will be fine. I will manage with tomorrow. You know, if you're telling yourself these things, again, you're right. So it's what
Right.
we say to ourselves, isn't it? Being mindful of what we're saying, you know. And I still have to catch myself sometimes when I'm giving myself a hard time and go, hang on, you know, switch that, because I don't have to be that cruel to myself, because, as I say, I still do it, but it's recognizing it. And the first step of my calmer self method is what I call recognize and release. So it's recognizing when you're stressed, when you're doing all the things we're just talking about, and then actually going, okay, that's what I'm doing. I've recognized it. Now what am I going to do about it? Am I going to carry on doing that, or can I change it? And we can change it, but you need to recognize it first, don't you? You need to go, that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
Catch yourself and then go. And as I say, we did that exhalation earlier. Sometimes just recognizing it as you breathe in, you can just go, oh, that's what's happening. I get it now. And then as you breathe out, you can start to move it. You can
And
decide what
release it.
to do.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful just to do that roll of breath. As you breathe in, you recognize it. As you breathe out, you can go, this is, I want to move it, I'm going to switch, I'm going to do whatever as you're breathing out, because the exhalation is also regulating your nervous system. It is relaxing you as well. And that's when our mind works a little bit better, doesn't it? You know, it's not frantic and everything. So the
Right.
power of the breath is amazing, isn't it? And like you say, with a guided meditation recording, you've got someone talking you through it, which is lovely. There's obviously ones that I do, but you look at YouTube, they're all over the place. You can find one that works for you. But it's just remembering that we have a choice, and we can, you know, we don't have to. But the people that go, oh, this is what I do every night, we go, well, we can change that. We can change
Yeah,
that. And that's
you
powerful.
can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that like listening to you like talk about this, I think like and a lot of us I think throughout our day we get so exhausted by the time our head hits the pillow, it's like, oh, but I'm thinking of like even the journaling in the morning, like Rebecca was alluding to, that those thoughts that are from our higher power, our higher consciousness are coming through, but also it might be something to experiment with before you go to sleep, because then those thoughts
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
like with you all day, you can make an intention to like, what do you want to let go of before you go to
Let
sleep,
them go.
so that you can
Mm-hmm.
like clear that out. Like you said, the first step of your calmer self method, and identify that and then release it. And
Mm-hmm.
that like, and we may be like, I'm so tired, like I just want to close my eyes, but then those, once we do, those thoughts start coming back. So it reminds me, because I'm saying this to myself too, like discipline is also required, because like to get us over that, I don't want to do this right now, or I'm too tired to do this right now, I'm too exhausted. But if we like allow ourselves to like, be a little bit disciplined about it, to try something new,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it just becomes, after a while, you can let the discipline go because it becomes your habit. And I say that, but it's like a reminder for me too, because there's things
Mm.
that I do and practices and all of that, but sometimes it falls by the wayside. So there's always, just because it does, or you let it go, and like you're like, why am I not feeling so great during the day? Because all this stuff is impacting your sleep, and you might get a
Mm-hmm.
sleep, but a good chunk of sleep, but it might
Mm.
not be a restorative one, because all of
Yes.
these
Yeah.
things are, circulating within you. So
Yeah.
it's just like, again, with this new moon, to establish maybe a new routine, figure out what that is for you, you want to try and explore,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
um, bring in for this opportunity
Yeah.
to um, kind of have some authority over your well-being,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be intentional around that. When,
Yeah.
because the more that we do that as a regular practice, the easier we have time we have navigating when things go sideways. And challenges arise, because that's always going to be the case. We were just talking about before we jumped on. There's like always going to be change. There's always going to
Yeah,
be
yes.
something new we're going to have to
Mm,
navigate. So it's like
mm,
that's why prioritizing your self-care in all the different ways, in getting the right sleep, in maybe journaling or meditation or whatever it is for
mm,
you, that
mm.
walking in nature, any kind of like rituals you have around, and I mean rituals around practices of self-care that
Yeah,
like are important to you or that are working for you, like, it's a
yeah.
time to kind of like recommit to that.
Yes, yeah, and why not? We're entering into a new year, like you say, whether we look at that, calendar year, how we look at it, it's a new phase for us, isn't it? And
Yes.
as I say, with a new moon, every cycle you can create and set intentions. Why not? Just pick
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that we're talking about and give it a go. We can change. We can try something different. We don't have to make it a big thing, do we? And a couple of things that you said, letting go of what's happened in the day. I used to do every Monday evening, I used to do on Zoom in lockdown what I called sunset sessions, which was helping people prepare for a good night's
Mm-hmm.
sleep. And one of the parts of that was actually letting go of the day. The day's done. Now I can relax and settle down. I'm settling down into my rest and relaxation time. And it was draw a line. I taught people through a guided meditation, draw a line under the day, let it go. And that's quite powerful. The
I
day's done.
love that. Yeah.
What's done is done. And now I'm preparing myself because I know I'm going to have a great night's sleep. And it's how we
Mm-hmm.
talk to ourselves. And like you say, when we're very tired, we think we haven't got time. But how long does it take? I've just said it. That's how long it
Yeah.
takes. And there's something, have you heard of Einstein time? It's a phrase that I heard years ago. And basically, my understanding of it, I might have got it wrong, is we make our own time.
Yeah. Time is
People,
man-made. Yeah.
exactly. When people, it's our perception, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When people get into a meditation practice, they say all the time, to start with, people that I work with go, I haven't got time for that, can't do this, can't do that. Then when they start, they make time, maybe 5 minutes to start with it, build it up a little bit. Then
Mm-hmm.
they can magically, they've got an hour a day to meditate because they enjoy it and they want to do it. And then they come back to me and say, I feel like I've got more time in my day because they're doing things in a different state of mind. It is magic. We
It
can create
is. I love
our
that.
own time, yeah, our own time, which is wonderful. So again, that's something maybe to just put that idea in your head and go, when you're feeling rushed, notice that's what you're feeling. I haven't got enough time, there's not enough hours in the day. We all say that, don't we? And go, if I sit down and have a cup of tea, does it mean I won't get everything done? Maybe you will get more things done because you will have given yourself a little refreshing break
Mm-hmm.
and then you start again fresher and you get things done in a better way. So it's worth maybe playing around with that, isn't it? And one thing I wanted to pick up on something else you said as well, that there's things we can do in the day to help us sleep at night, and
Mm-hmm.
people again don't get that. One of the things that we can do, which works really well, and I'm sure you know this too, is get some daylight in our eyes, some
The
light.
sun. Yeah.
First thing in the morning, go out in nature first. I'm lucky I've got a dog, I have a dog walk. The weather isn't always the best, but I'm getting daylight in my eyes. Not the best at the moment, but but it's really, that's good for us. If we do that, if you don't actually have a chance to get out in daylight in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
some people don't in their daily routine, then we miss that chance. That is a powerful thing. If you have some daylight into your eyes physically, then that actually is, again, there's scientific reasoning behind it that I don't really fully understand, but I know it works. So those kind of things, there's lots of little practices you can do to support yourself with sleep.
Yeah.
And so try one, pick one and try something. It doesn't have to be a big thing, does it? So
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, there's lots of, yeah, like you said, there's lots of things we've talked about and touched on.
mm,
And I love going back to what you said about drawing the line under the day. Like it's done. We can't, I think a lot of our suffering in general is around trying to change what's happened in the
exactly, and we
past,
can't, we
and we
can't. Yeah.
can't. And I think, that is something that we can take with us. Maybe a good way to wrap up this conversation, but just remind
Yes,
people of all the different things that like you can do throughout your day, whether that's journaling, writing, taking a deep breath in the middle of
yes,
the day, making time for yourself to
yes.
meditate,
Mm,
whatever it looks like for you. going to sleep with a guided meditation, because guided,
Mm,
when your
mm,
mind is racing, is like kind of helps you get that focus and to actually let things go. So there's
yeah,
all these different ways that we can support ourselves and practice
yeah,
self-care, and then allowing ourselves to have a better handle on the day ahead, like you said. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that's where we maybe can wrap this up. And where
I
can people find
agree.
you and your beautiful meditations, Nadine?
Yes, thank you so much. The best place to look at what I do and everything I do, there's meditations on my YouTube channel. There's also, we put these chit chats on there, don't we, as well? So you can look at old
Yes.
ones. We cover so many topics, but you can listen to this one again if you want, because we've shared a lot of information in this one, haven't we? So it might be worth a listen for people or a watch again. That's my YouTube channel, Calm Myself Coach. And where can people connect with you and maybe treat themselves to some lovely Reiki that you do for me or something like that? Where can people find you?
They can find me at thisistrishcampbell.com. Of course, I'm here on Instagram. This is Trish Campbell. And my YouTube is not up to date, so always refer to Nadine's for our chit chats. But yeah, I'm just so grateful to continue having these conversations with you. I'm excited for, entering into this new calendar year and giving ourselves this break before we do that. And yeah, looking forward to what's to come. So thank you,
Yes,
everyone who joined
me
us.
too. Me too. Thank you so much.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.